Now, let's be clear. We are not military engaged. We must not give in to a narrative used by the coup leaders that consists of saying France has become the enemy. The problem of Nigerians today is the coup leaders who put them in danger because they are abandoning the fight against terrorism. They are abandoning a policy that was economically good for the population. That is the reality. And if we don't come out and say it, who will?
Now, for more on this, I'm joined by the co-editor of Africa Politica, Ovigwe Eguegu. Ovigwe, thanks very much indeed for joining us. France is clearly digging in its heels. Do we think that's admirable or risky?
Well, I think it is definitely its only option at this point. France doesn't want to exit Niger. I think that is very clear because, of course, that is the last hold. If you agree with the term hold, that it really has in the Sahel. You may recall, for instance, President Macron is saying they're not going to recognize the junta, but it recognizes the government in Chad. Chad is also a junta. It recognizes the government, at least it has engagement with the government in Mali, in Burkina Faso. But the difference is that Niger is a country where it is deeply invested, and it just doesn't see the possibility of just letting go easily as it did in Burkina Faso and in Mali.
I mean, interestingly, President Macron makes the point that Mali and Burkina Faso, like them, Niger also owes its secure borders to French intervention. Is that fair?
No, and that is, I think that is just hot air and just pandering to the domestic audience. Because if you look at Burkina Faso, for instance, Burkina Faso over the last 10 years was a G5 Sahel force, which was a French-led multinational security mechanism for the Sahel. Burkina Faso hosted French special forces. Burkina Faso participated in every European training mission that was available in the Sahel. But in that same 10 years, Burkina Faso lost 40% of its territory to Al-Qaeda and Islamic Maghreb, ISWAP, and all other terrorist organizations operating in the Sahel. So how can you justify such a statement when the fact on the ground is totally on the contrary?
So given that may be the case with Niger as well, how does the junta in Niger now propose to keep the country secure? Will they be turning to the Russians for help or manage things by themselves?
Well, the truth of the matter is the junta in Niger just cannot on their own combat the threat that they face. The threats that they face are transnational, and their solutions have to be transnational. They have to find a way, first and foremost, to work with countries in the region. I think that is the real challenge that they face. Whether you are going back to the French, or you are going to work with the Americans or the Russians, I think that is even a secondary question, because primarily the countries at the front line of this threat are Sahelian countries like Mali, like Burkina Faso, like Chad, like Nigeria, for instance. So in the immediate work that they have to do is to find a way to reconcile with their neighbors and form a multinational joint task force that is really broad, not like G5 Sahel that excluded Nigeria, for instance, and Cameroon, but really inclusive. And then they can talk about who their foreign partners will be.
Ovigwe Eguegu, thanks very much indeed for joining us tonight.